I'm Johna Till Johnson, and I'm the CEO of Nemertes Research. Sometimes when I'm working with our enterprise clients, a technology executive will say to me, Johna, I'm interested in using wireless as a wide area network service, but I'm worried about the complexity. Should I be? Well, that's a great question, and it's one that we set out to answer a couple of months ago when we interviewed 12 organizations that had deployed wireless wide area networks. And one of the questions we wanted to understand is how complex is it really to set up and administer these wireless WANs? Well, we found out that it was actually significantly less complex than the wired counterparts. Specifically, the setup was significantly reduced down to 26 minutes from more like 35 days on average to set up a wireless site versus a wired site. And we also saw that the management and administration was 19%, folks had a 19% reduction in staff count for managing and administering a wireless WAN, particularly in the context of SD-WAN, where you have seamless failover between circuit types. We also found that organizations that experienced this decrease in complexity tended to adhere to a handful of good best practices. One was, as I mentioned, they used wireless in conjunction with SD-WAN, so they were able to have this very seamless failover so they didn't have to spend time and energy troubleshooting out temporary transient outages. Another is that they limited the number of providers they were working with so that they didn't have the overhead of working with, dozens of different cellular providers. Finally, I think it depends quite a lot on how you're using the wireless WAN. What we found, though, is that the decrease in complexity held true across the board, whether you were using wireless as backup, whether you were using it as primary, or in some cases, folks would use it as kind of a front runner, deploy a site first with wireless, and then ultimately transition back to wired when wired became available. So in sum, the fear of increased complexity is pretty much overblown.